welcome. Saludos. This is our show where we talk about, and I am Adolfo, and I totally just stole the show from Mikey. I'm gonna give it back to Mikey. Go ahead, Mikey.
Nah, it's all good. Listen, there was a brief moment where my audio did cut out, so I thought, and we're gonna sex our way. I was like, not the show, at least not for another 10 minutes at least. But anyways, so speaking of smexiness, we are about to talk about some Lucha Libre action here. We're just all over the place tonight. All right, back on track. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Los Lobos de la Lucha, our weekly C review show here on the BC Wrestle Pod Network Conglomeration Syndicate Twitch Dub YouTube thing we do every single day of the week except for Thursdays. I am your host, Mikey. Joining me this evening is my smexy Puerto Rican brother, my hermano, who I'm excited to see in 4 weeks, which is crazy. It's coming out very shortly. But
coming to California, y'all.
Yeah, Adolfo, I'm so happy that you are here.
I'm happy I'm here too. And hey, Agent Lo-Fi, right on top.
Friend to the homie to the channel. He is no longer friend. He is homie to the channel now.
That's right.
Just in time.
That's right.
He's watching us and watching the Infotoma too. So this is gonna be great.
Nice. Give us the tea if anything good comes up. So.
Oh, absolutely.
So we are here. We're going to be talking about the video from the 14th of March, 2025. Mikey, go ahead. Start us off.
Absolutely. So before we kick things off, of course, follow us everywhere on the social medias. We have merchandise. Let's get into the fun stuff now. Because I already said it earlier tonight during NXT review, but follow us anywhere, everywhere at BC Wrestle Pod. Now, let us begin. Because this was
very fun. Yep.
And for me, it was very nice to see some folks. And some changes have been made. Just like the personality of one of the participants in this first match. Yeah. I did not recognize Robin at first. I'm not even going to lie. I was like, who is this man in this ring?
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, he's more rudo than anything now. I was like, I'm kind of here for the character change.
Yeah, and I feel like he also buffed up a little bit, or bulked up, I should say.
Listen, I didn't want to be the first thing because I think more of my wrestlers, but yes, yeah. I was like, hello. Yeah. I want him to give me a hug so bad. Anyways, so we open things up this week with a match between, as I said, Robin and Astral. It's been a hot minute since I seen Robin on my screen on Vienna. I forgot how agile he is.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like maybe he's like gone back to like one of the schools and like worked some stuff, because I don't remember him hitting some of the moves that he hit in this match against Astral. And yeah, I agree with Agent Lo-Fi. I feel like they both had something to prove in this match because they both brought it. It was great. Now, they are high energy just because the nature of the match is you have 10 minutes, and at the end of 10 minutes, it's either win, lose, or draw, right? So these two just went at it. And they, some of the things that they showed off, there was this beautiful stall into an arm drag that I believe Robin held Astral up for like the stall, and then they went into an arm drag, which was crazy. Just showed a lot of the strength, not only physical strength, but like the core strength of both the participants. We did, like Mikey said, we saw being a rudo, he went after Astral's mask. However, he wasn't like your stereotypical rudo where a stereotypical rudo is very like just more like, for example, and also his ring awareness, I should say, was great. Astral did this beautiful moon flip to cover Robin, and Robin got his feet up just in time to give Astral boots to the face. But to close the match, and I think Astral got the pin with like 8.5 minute mark. I'll hit this beautiful, I'm calling it a Canadian destroyer. That's what it looked like to me.
I was just like, men do flying things. Yes.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to take notes during CMLL watchings for me because I'm so enthralled with the action in the ring that I was like, oh crap, I forgot I got to review this later in the week. No, but as I stated last week when we previewed this, this episode I was already excited to see Robin back in here. And Agent Lo-Fi giving us the information that he also puts together independent shows in the United States. So why he is gone for a good chunk of time sometimes, which I did not know, which is great. Also, if that is the case, then we need to figure out where in the United States he's putting
Yes.
these shows together.
Yes. Independent, you say. Shows, you say.
Field trip.
Right? Support independent wrestling, y'all.
Yes. Oh my good. Listen, me, Adolfo, and Will will find a way for the three of us to go on a field trip together somewhere, have a little staycation, go to Arena Mexico. It'll be fantastic. But this was a really fun opener. As you mentioned, Adolfo, Astral does pick up the victory here. But this was fantastic opening. So I loved it. It was great. So we move on. Yes, ma'am. Gosh.
Very interesting match. Lot of fun. Lot of fun watching this match, but this was a very interesting match. In this match, we had our technical team, Futuro, Maxstar, and Valiente Jr., who all had the matching ring gear, which was pretty nifty. Not sure if they're officially a trio team or not, but all the ring gear match, so it was pretty cool. Against our Rudo team, Okamura, Yutani, and El Cobarde. El Cobarde, this is the first time I've seen him. I'm not sure if you've seen him at all, like like on NJPW or anything like that, if you recognize him.
I'm gonna be honest, this is my first introduction to, well, outside of Okamura, it's my first real introduction to our other two, but like Agent Lo-Fi says, this match made me a big fan of Utani.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Yeah, this was a best 2 out of 3 match or pinfall submission. The first pinfall, we start off with Futuro in the ring. We're a little bit grounded, but then we switch to Okamura versus Valiente Jr. and then Yutani and trying to outmuscle Maxstar trying to outmuscle Maxstar and El Valiente Jr. and Maxstar flip the script on Yutani and they end up the two Rudos. So our first pinfall goes to our Técnicos. Then our second pinfall, the Técnicos start strong, doing a lot of the great, things that we have come to know Futuro, Maxstar, and Valiente Jr. to do, a lot of the outside of the ring type thing. Valiente did this really fun, or I should say Valiente Jr. did this really fun, like hopping on the shoulders of Futuro and then and doing a frog splash. It just looked really cool, and I was very impressed with Valiente Jr. and his hops to be able to literally box jump onto a man's shoulders and then frog splash off that. It was really cool. He gets Futuro alone and hits him with a hurricane powerbomb for the 1-2-3. So our second fall goes to the Rudos. Finally, in the third, the Rudos start off with a literal beatdown of Valiente Jr. Okamura hit Valiente Jr. with these sick backbreakers. I still think that Atlantis backbreakers are the most beautiful that I've seen in my life, but Okamura is those things were just gorgeous. And I apologize. He hit those on Maxstar. My bad. I feel like in this fall, we got a better look at Yutani because he was able to, the last two pinfalls, Yutani kind of was in there with, but the third pinfall, he actually had a spotlight moment. Dante Jr. turns it around and starts to fly. He clears house, but Okamura and Yutani, they catch Valiente Jr. and Maxstar and hit them with a synchronized drivers, very fancy, getting the 1-2-3. So the match goes to our Rudo team, best 2 out of 3.
Fantastic. And just to highlight, homie to the friend, in terms of, he's worked a lot of GDL in Puebla, and now he's working more Arena Mexico recently. So, I was impressed with everyone in here. Also, I had to double take when I was watching this. I was like, who is this bald man? Oh my God, it's Okamura. It's such a different. I was just like, but I'm here for it though.
He wasn't in his orange. He was in the all black and red. He had that face makeup on with the cool kanji right there. It was cool. He looked, him and Yutani looked really, really cool. I definitely like that look.
I need more Yutani in my life. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to see more, so now I'm gonna start doing research.
Yeah. And really quick, Okamura, how about that dichotomy between the Okamura that we get in MLW, right?
It's such an interesting dichotomy for sure. I love both sides of it, though. It really was. So we move on from this Relevo Australiano match into Jesus. Okay, like on paper, I already knew this was gonna be fun, but hot damn, like
My
this was
boy
great.
Euphoria.
Yes,
Huh?
this was a final de match, which pits two Rudo teams against each other. So on one side we have Barbaro Cable and El Elemental taking on the team of Averno, and so
Los
I was like,
Infants.
Los Inf, man, like so good. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, whenever Los Infernales are in the ring, it's just get ready for just beatdown because they are one of the most rudo teams ever rudo in the business. I feel, and that's probably a big statement coming from a watching Lucha Libre, but through and they love it. So this unfortunately this was one of those matches that like I was more focused on the match than my notes, so but we'll the quick breakdown. So the match starts with Elemental and in the ring, then we go through the cycle where everyone gets in with everyone else. Mario comes in and he's reminds us that he's not only big, but he's super agile as well. Once he gets in the ring, the Inferno, that's when they start being the Rudos and just start lumping Barro up. And El Elemental, he gets pinned. No, I apologize. El Terrible is pinned by Averno, and then Euphoria hits this wicked power bomb off. I want to say it was the top rope, might have been the second rope, but to me it looked like it was the top rope on Elemental for the 1-2-3 pin. So your first pinfall goes to the Los Infra. The second pinfall starts off, and he ends up getting lumped up, And is it me or did we see Euphoria flipping off the crowd when the crowd was booing Los Angeles?
It was very interesting. I was like, whoa, all right, let's do this.
Right? I wasn't 100% sure if that he meant like because he did the thing where he was scratching his head, but he like was doing this whole situation, so who knows. But then Team Bob, they get lumped up for a good portion of the second pinfall, but Team Barbaro Cavernario does come back. El Terrible ends up hitting a submission move on Averno. It was sick looking torture rack. I know I keep saying sick for everything. I'm sorry. But like these lucha, they look really painful, But yeah, so El Terrible he made Averno submit with a torture rack, and El Element he makes Mephisto. This is where it got kind of weird. We had an actual emergency at the Arena Mexico.
I was gonna say, I was like, is happening? I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. So it's funny because when you watch the show, CMLL, they put all their shows on YouTube, right? And at the beginning of the shows, you actually see the feed that they're giving the audience in the Arena Mexico as well. So like they have this whole like welcome to Arena Mexico. If there's an emergency, you look for your closest exit, look for, the staff and the emergency gear, blah, 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 right? And we're, it's time for Versus Spectacular. But yeah, there was an actual emergency. If someone actually has the 411 on what happened, please, go ahead and put it in the comments below or hit us up in the chat. But from the research I did, the only thing I found was that on that day, on the 14th of March, that the Mexican government passed a bill outlawing bullfighting. And there was apparently, it was a 5.2 earthquake. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. So there was an earthquake as well. I thought that it was the protests, because apparently the protesters for the bullfighting, there were animal rights activists and there were activists for the bullfights, and they got violent with each other. So I thought it was an earthquake. But Euphoria ends up getting Barbaro Cavernario, who is the captain, Barbaro Cavernario, and makes him submit. So we initially think that the match goes to the Rudos, but oh no. This is Lucha Libre, so we have to have a little dramatico, if you will. Mephisto comes bouncing in, carrying El Elemental's mask, right? And our favorite ref, Guero Noriega, sees the mask. He's like, "Where'd you get that?" Guero Noriega disqualifies Los Infernales, so the win actually goes to Barbaro Cavernario, El Terrible, and El. So it was a lot of fun, even without the whole stoppage because of the earthquake or whatever. It was still a lot of fun. As our promo stuff says, a lot of ups and downs and near falls. battles, you know? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like you said, I love that the referees kind of take, their own life into the whole thing as well. But yeah, I'm gonna wait until the very end. But a lot of these folks that we're been seeing on this episode and previous episodes, I was like, LA's about to be invaded by lots of CMLL talent for a certain pay-per-view
Yeah.
show coming up in a couple weeks, which we'll talk about at the end. But
Yeah. And I know we've said this before, but I just have to restate it because I don't think we've said it recently. I love how CMLL allows the refs to kind of be their own person and actually makes them not look dumb, disqualified, which I thought was great.
100% agreed. This was a fun match, and it led into a series of fun matches for what comes next. So this one's an interesting. So just like we did the previous week, we're going to break these down section by section because we got 3 Amazonas matches all wrapped up into one, if you will.
Yep.
So this was basically the second round elimination style tournament to determine which Amazona tag team will go on to face, Lady Frost and Taya Valkyrie this Friday on Spectacular to become the new, tag team champions, which makes me excited. So this was the first matchup, which saw, our girls, the CMLL, Amapola and Princesa Su, taking on our international girls of Blair, who is known to be tied to Michael, one of my new favorite British wrestlers right now, and her tag team partner of Zoe Lucas. I forgot what the tag team it was called, but I was laughing so hard when
I think I got it. Hang on one second. Highlight what Agent Lo-Fi said because I do have to agree with him.
Yeah, everything did felt rushed, and I think because of that stall from the earthquake to make sure everything was good, I think the Amazona had to rush it, and that definitely was felt in the final matchup.
You're right there, Mikey.
The wrestling gods are coming for me. There we go. Pretty psycho.
So we, just like last week, we start off with a mini tour of where we had a member of each tag team, I should say, face off against each other, and whoever got tossed out over the top rope second. So, and then, yada yada. And we had Princesa Dark Silueta and Zoe Lucas facing off in this Torneo Cybernet. And, God bless Zoe Lucas, trying to shake people's hands, trying to make friends, then getting lumped up for her trouble, because that's what happened. Zoe Lucas gets into the ring with these 3 Amazonas, and she tries to offer peaceful gestures from across the pond, if you will. In a kind of weird thing, we do see Juvia, Princesa Suhui, and Dark Silhouette team up against Zoe Lucas and lump her up. For her credit, Zoe Lucas was able to fight back. She was able to toss Princess over the top rope, hitting her with this really, she's got, y'all don't misconstrue what I'm about to say. I'm talking about like her athleticism, very flexible, because she did that roundhouse kick and got her leg, Zoe Lucas I should say, got her leg not only up but over the ring to smack into Princess Wheat, which was very impressive. And then of course Zoe ends up getting tossed over by Juvia. So that brings us to our first match where we had Suhui and Amapola versus Pretty Psycho from Rev Pro. Go ahead, Mikey.
Well, again, I thought this was a really fun, I guess if you want to call it, first round match. So we had these two go at it for a bit, Pretty Psycho versus, and I'm not gonna lie, this was actually a lot of fun. Again, I agree with Agent Lo-Fi and what they stated earlier, that these 3 matches did feel rushed, especially in the final one, which we'll get to. But bing bada boom, Amira Blair and Zoe Lucas step into the room, and they end up winning this match, moving on to the quote-unquote finals of the second elimination tournament.
Yep. Yeah, they end up winning by submission too, which was very interesting.
Nope, I'm going to take it the wrong way. Dislike.
I am shame. Anyway, so we have our next match, which is Las Dark Silhouette and Puerto Rican Power versus Las Chicas Lluvia and Jarochita. Go ahead, Mikey.
So I think, if we're going to be honest, I think because these are 4 CMLL Amazona, this is the typical stuff that we get to see. So,
Yep.
and based on how we've kind of been seeing Juve and even the last couple of months, I figured they were going to be the ones to make it to the final round to face Pretty Psycho. But damn, did Zuxi and Dark Silhouette make it a tough fight too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I agree. Out of the two matches, and this is in no way saying that the Bola and Pretty Psycho match was not good. It was entertaining, but this was definitely the best match, and I feel that a lot of that has to do with the fact that Juve La Jarochita have faced off against these before, not only as tag team but as singles and as trios. So they know how each other works. They know, and also, you don't have, and this is the first time I've seen Pretty Psycho, and I'm still new to Rev Pro, but I'm kind of feeling that Lucha Libre in Mexico is a lot different than Lucha Libre when you see it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. So I feel that, the fact that these Amazon have worked together and they're in Mexico, that they just knew how to read each other. Pretty Psycho versus there was that little bit of a disconnect, where the styles were, a little different. So, but yeah, we get Juvia Cheetah coming up on top. I personally think that the Chicas Indonables dominated Las Infernales. I mean, at first, Zuxis and Dark Silhouette came out strong, but then ring gear issues aside, I think Juvia and La Jarochita gave it to Dark Silhouette in that. So, but yeah, Juvia and La Jarochita come out as your winners. And there was no break in between, because Zoe and Amira come straight out and and sneak, and they sneak Juvia and La Jarochita, catching them outside of the ring, hitting a plancha and a moonsault off the ring mat there, hardest part of the ring. But all in all, in this final where we had Pretty Psycho versus Juvia and La Jarochita, Juvia and Jarochita come out with the win. So this upcoming we are going to have Juvia and La Jarochita versus Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost for the Campeón de Parejas CMLL, or in English, Women's World Tag Team Champions.
Well, when you say it like that sounds. Hey, what can we say? We're two brown boys living in America,
right?
And it is so great. But yeah, the last match definitely, because Amira and Zoe just came in. And like I said before, the third match definitely was the one that would definitely hurt from being rushed after, having to pause because of the earthquake and everything. But it was still a match, and I'm excited to see our final, which we'll talk about when we preview this upcoming Viernes Espectacular. But overall, Amazona action, so great. Yes, Ancient Lo-Fi, so am I.
Yes.
And we will be previewing that like any good sports related thing when we get to the end of this. But let's get into our main event of this episode of Viernes. But before we do,
really quick, my final thought on this is I actually would like it if either CMLL or Rev Pro, if they were able to roll it back and maybe have Pretty Psycho come back, so that we can actually see Juvia and La Jarochita versus Pretty Psycho in an actual,
Yeah, I actually agree. Well, CMLL, I think, has, at least since we've been watching, have done a very good job of pretty much working with anybody and everyone. They have such a deep relationship with all these different promotions. I would not be surprised.
Yep.
But now, let us get into the main event of here. And this is, if you want to call it main event, very interesting matchups here. Not even going to lie. So on one side, we have Místico teaming up with Angel and Roja. Yep, we're going to talk about you boys in the preview. Taking on the team
with Que Monito.
Yep, that's also very important. And on the other side, we had Volador Jr. with Rocky Romero. And to my surprise, given their history with each other, and Mr. Flip Gordon.
Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero, El Papi.
Oh, yes, he is. Sorry, it wasn't meant that way. Sorry.
No, it was the shirts they were wearing, and it was because of the other week where Rocky called himself Volador's dad, and they made shirts of it, and I just thought that was hysterical. So, yeah, and then Flip Gordon is kind of like your odd man out. Rocky Romero, I will say this every week, Rocky, CMLL, Rocky Romero is best Rocky Romero. Get over it, AEW. Sorry.
Well, also Rocky Romero SP. Anyways,
Yeah.
happy chulo. Sorry, that was uncomfortable for everybody to hear. But let's get back on track, shall we? Yeah, on paper, I was very surprised. I'm like, doesn't Rocky and Flip kind of hate each other's guts? I'm here for the drama. This is telenovela though, so I'm here for it.
Yep. And also what was interesting is that, for how much they hate each other, which there was a little bit of that at the beginning of the match because Rocky, or I should say Flip, went to go shake Rocky's hand and Rocky was just like, nope, and like walked away. But they ended up working really well together, which was weird. Oh, and Que Malito was out with these guys too. We got
That's the
important bits. So yeah, again, not sure if this match was shortened because of what happened. If it was, I will say, and I'm probably alone on my island when I say this, but good upcoming time from the men's because we are so used to on US programming that when stuff has to get cut, who gets cut? The women. So, cutting from both the women's and men, if that's what happened, good on you for being balanced and fair like that. And the reason I said that is that this match it was a best 2 out of 3 pinfalls, but it only went 2 pinfalls. And both pinfalls went to the Rudo team of Volador Jr., Rocky Romero, and Flip Gordon. Both times, the Hermanos Chavez got pinned by Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero, and
it definitely was, but I still overall enjoyed it. I thought this was a really fun match. I love it.
Oh yeah, I gotta give props to Volador Jr. and Angel de Oro because they did, and I'm gonna say they did this Canadian Destroyer. Volador Jr. delivered a Canadian Destroyer on Angel de Oro. However, when Angel de Oro came off the rope, right, and set Volador Jr. up, like, I don't know what like telekinetic powers these gents have, right? But the two of them were able to get ridiculous height and rotation on this Canadian Destroyer. I was just like, wow, is Angel de Oro alive still? That was fun. Yeah. You got anything else there, Mikey?
No, I don't really have too much to add. I thought, and I agree with Agent Lo-Fi. I think this felt like a standard Friday main. It was fun enough for the time they had, but also it does lay the, with the big show happening this Friday. So this is good. Be like, hey y'all, we're gonna have a fun show, but get ready because next Friday's about to be bonkers, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. Which, speaking of which, let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now.
Since this is still our first year reviewing CMLL, like everything is like, ooh, oh my gosh, it's so new. So again, my Spanish is not the greatest, but I've watched enough telenovelas to understand certain things. If I'm correct, isn't these two are the founders of CMLL? Or am I losing my mind a little bit?
Yeah, the TLDR, yes.
Okay.
And this show is in honor of them. It seemed, and maybe Agent Lo-Fi can tip in on this. Oh, this is the second biggest show of the year next to the Aniversario show. Wow.
Which we got to watch, and there was fire, except for the main event. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, it's kind of seemed like March was the month where they honored all the past luchadors, so and Amazonas that throughout the years. So yeah, so this is honoring these two who I believe were the if not founders, the ones that made CMLL what it is. But let's go over this card because this card is sick.
Oh, absolutely. So this is Star Black Fugas and then versus Akuma and Diablo Uno. So that's gonna be fun. Then kicking things off second, our first championships match, if you will, MLL, or the CMLL Women's Tag Team Championships. We have Taya Valkyrie and Lady Frost versus Juvia and La Jarochita. That's also going to be a great match. In what I can only imagine is also going to be a banger. In a match Relampango, we have Yo versus
Yikes.
Yes. In the words of Sheamus, banger after banger after banger. This is going to be so much fun. Listen, Will is going to have to pick a side with this match. So poor Will, but it's a fun thing to have. Then in our second championship match, so the men's tag team champion, defending the titles against Volador Jr. Romero. I'm excited. This is going to be good. And then because we are actually getting luchadors to wrestle in Arena Mexico, we have in the Lucha Levels is a very special CMLL versus AEW bout in which we have, we have Sky Team, which is Místico and Máscara Dorada, taking on our tag team from AEW and Hologram.
Wow.
Excuse my French. I may have made myself wet a little bit.
Wow.
I was like, but then if that wasn't enough in your main event, we've been building to this for the last month or two versus Mascara. So this is Val taking on Star Jr. Gin Jr. I'm not ready for this match. This is about to be fire.
No idea. And that's one of the reasons why I love about CMLL is you honestly don't know what you're gonna get.
No. Agent Lo-Fi coming in with the facts. This will be the Chavez Bros 21st defense of the titles. I'm pretty sure the longest reign for CMLL.
So then who do we think? Let me pop in with these two. Chavez, Hermanos Chavez versus Volador Jr. and Rocky Romero. Who's walking out with the gold? Mikey?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the Chavez Bros. I think we're still going to... I can make a case for Volador and Rocky to win, but I'm going to go with our champions in this case.
Okay. And then who do you think is walking out with the women's gold?
I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be Jarochita and Juvia, especially since, everything that happened with previous tag partners. So I think Jarochita and Juvia are going to hold on to those. Because unfortunately, as much as I would love it, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go with those two. I would love to see Taya and Lady Frost with the titles, but because they're in other companies.
Yeah, it would be cool if Taya and Lady Frost are the women's gold. So I agree with Agent Lo-Fi. My only issue is I wasn't happy when... I was happy when Willow won the women's title, the CMLL women's title. I wasn't happy that then she took it and didn't defend it in Mexico. Right. If Lady Frost and Taya can come down to Mexico and actually defend the title in Mexico, I would be fine with them picking up the women's gold. I just don't want to see, kind of like the whole it's annoying seeing ROH championship being fought for on AEW television. I don't want to see the CMLL championship just being defended on AEW or ROH TV. But fair. Agent Lo-Fi makes a good point. It is good promotion for the belts, but that's just my own little thing.
And that has been Adolfo's Corner. This has been Adolfo's Island. No,
right.
Regardless, I'm really excited for Viernes Espectacular, and we better make sure Will better be here. He has no choice.
Yeah.
How dare you skip out on... I'm just kidding, Will. I know why you had to, and I'm so sorry that you're dealing with all of that. But hey, next Wednesday is a different story. The trio will be back next Wednesday to review this special episode of Viernes. Man, I am so excited. It is great.
Ooh, nice.
People forget that Taya can speak Spanish.
Yes, she can. Yeah.
Love it. But that is going to be it for Los Lobos de la Lucha, unfortunately, this week. But we will be back next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. Pacific, to cover more exciting Lucha Libre action in Arena Mexico. So from myself, my Puerto Rican brother, Adolfo, and, our obligatory gringo of the group, Will, Papa Oso, who we love very dearly here, and the rest of the VC Wrestle Pod family. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, stay biconic. More importantly than anything, though, you always deserve to finish your story.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.